Well, today we got some very big news regarding the SEC and Ripple case. And maybe it's not the best of news, but I will say by the end of this video, I think every single XRP holder that is worried about this case will come back down and be very calm about this and relax because yes, this case is still almost over. And I do suspect that it will be over by the end of this summer. And we're going to talk exactly about why. So number one, let's start off with the market. Right now, Bitcoin's still pretty much around 107K, nothing too crazy there. In terms of XRP, we did drop. So we can actually see the difference here. Bitcoin is down about 0.33% today. XRP down about 4.29% because, of course, the news that we got today. This is what Bitcoin looks like. Bitcoin did wick down to about 106.5K earlier today. XRP did wick down to about $2.08. Nothing too crazy there, but overall, everyone was kind of panicky about the news that we got today, which is, of course, this. Judge Torres has denied Ripple and the SEC Gov joint motion for an indicative ruling. Now, everyone is worried about this. They think that this case is just going to continue on and on and on, and we're going to see more delays. I want everyone to understand right now, and just as you guys can see Vet saying under this post, none of this has anything to do with XRP. Okay, XRP back in August, or actually, no, it wasn't August, it was July of 2023, got cleared in the court of law as not a security. And even more recently, we got confirmation that XRP is not a security. This is not negative for XRP at all. That's why I think it's so comical to see XRP getting sold off simply because of this ruling. Now, Eleanor does highlight that new Judge Torres' message in the ruling is that private deals don't erase public judgments, and her judgment still serves the public interest. The parties do not have the authority to agree not to be bound by a court's final judgment. They have not come close to doing so here. If they want out, she said, they can withdraw their appeals and let the judgment stand, or go through the appeals process to challenge it. Basically, what she's saying here is that this case could be over tomorrow if, Ripple really wanted it. For an example, even Ashley Prosper 1 did say this. We have Judge Torres basically said to the SEC, you wanted it, you got it now. Deal with it. Whilst also saying to Ripple, if you want the case to end, then end it. The only thing stopping you is you. She's one tough cookie. Now, does Ripple pay the fine and live with the injunction, but get an exemption from the SEC for future sales, try a third bite at the apple, or move forward with its cross appeal? And does the SEC move forward with the appeal, or does it drop its case? I expect both parties will end their cross appeals, considering both were willing to do so anyway, plus the fine is inconsequential to Ripple, and the injunction, because it was not narrowly defined, could actually be worked into a positive. Think about it. An injunction while often seen as punitive, can paradoxically become a badge of trust when viewed through a systemic compliance-focused lens. Ripple can't just wing it or pivot recklessly anymore. Every action has to pass court scrutiny or they risk contempt. Ripple can even market it. We are the only crypto company operating under a federal compliance mandate. You'll never have to worry about legal surprises, as Ross said. And here we actually have in the court document, if the parties genuinely wish to end this litigation today, they are free to withdraw their appeals. Or if the parties wish to make the court's orders go away, they may utilize the primary route that Congress has created for parties to seek relief from the legal consequences of judicial judgments. So again, this could be over tomorrow if they wanted this to be done. All it takes is Ripple to, withdraw the appeal or utilize the primary route that Congress has created to seek relief. So again, like I said, I do think that this is probably going to be over by the end of the summer. The reason why I say the end of the summer, we'll talk about that here in a second. But we also have over here from Fred Rispoli. Again, these are the lawyers that I'm really kind of highlighting here in terms of Fred. But we have, regarding when this all ends, there is a status report due by the parties to the Second Circuit in August. One of two things will be in that report. Parties ask the appellate court to reinstate the briefing schedule. An appeal goes on. In that scenario, case doesn't end until late 2026, early 2027. This is a bad route, okay? This is like the worst case scenario. Parties tell the appellate court they settled the case and seek dismissal of the appeals rulings made by Torres remain in effect. Case is over. I think we see two happen and get that announcement end of July and early August of this year. And yes, this would actually align perfectly with everything. What am I talking about? Well, let's actually go over here to what Meta Lawman put out, which is note the SEC and Ripple case do not need permission from any court to dismiss their appeals. My guess is we will see dismissals of both appeals soon because the lawyers for both sides have to have anticipated this outcome that Judge Torres would not vacate her prior ruling. And yeah, I think that we pretty much get this done by the end of summer. Why am I saying the end of summer? Why am I focused on the end of summer? Well, it's a few things. Number one, okay, when we think about the Genius Act and we think about market, the market structure bill, right? Which is basically clarity for crypto. Those are expected by the end of the summer, August, actually August 1st. We know recently that the banking GOP put out this post, which was new. Senator Tim Scott, Senator Loomis, Tom Tillis, and also Hegarty unveiled principles for digital asset market structure legislation. These will guide bipartisan efforts to bring regulatory clarity, foster innovation, and protect investors. Now, within this, big shout out to Chad Steingraber, we have U.S. Senate Banking Committee reveals complete set of principles for the digital asset market structure bill set for law before August. Here we actually have within this, let's actually zoom in, a clear, economically rational line distinguishing digital asset securities from digital asset commodities should be fixed in statute, contemplating existing law and providing predictability, enhanced legal precision, and much needed regulatory certainty. This breaks down everything around, innovation, regulations, how we can protect, those who purchase or trade digital assets. Illicit finance measures should be targeted and pro-innovation. Federal financial regulators should welcome responsible innovation as well. This is basically just opening up digital assets in the US in a huge way, but this is expected by August 1st. I don't remember the post that Eleanor did put out, but I do know it was recent, right? She was talking about how there was a bill. It was actually the Genius Act, and how Trump will basically sign it as soon as possible once it gets onto his desk. I think it was this one. But essentially, the goal here is to get this all done by August 1st. Trump said no delays, no add-ons. He wants this the Genius Act on his desk as soon as possible so that he could sign it. And now what we're starting to see is a lot of individuals from Congress and around the Senate also wanting to add in the market structure legislation bill as well on top of the Genius Act, which would be, bunched together and fully signed through and enacted into law by August. This is Trump's overall deadline. It's August 1st. We don't know if this is all going to work out the way that we want, but if that is the case and we actually get all of this passed through by that August deadline, expect this entire market to wake up in a huge way around regulations. And I do suspect that that's when we start to see this case really kind of go away. And also, we know recently David Sachs did put out a great post saying thank you to the Senate Banking Committee Chair Tim Scott and Digital Assets Subcommittee Chair Senator Loomis for announcing a clear timeline and plan for comprehensive crypto market structure legislation. Bill introduced before August recess, markup first week of September, done by the end of September. So again, I still think by the end of August, we will most likely see a lot of these things really kind of move forward. President Trump supports clarity on market structure as well as Genius on stablecoins. Let's get this done. July will be a big month with a bill signing for Genius and clarity going to the Senate. So again, we have to just be a little bit more patient here, but I suspect that we're probably going to start to see some pretty big moves happening throughout the summer. By the end of the summer, we could see all of this really kind of cleared up. Everyone is so fixated on this Ripple SEC case, especially XRP holders. I mean, every XRP holder is sitting there just waiting for this to be done. And I get it, right? We don't want anything to do with the SEC anymore when it comes from the XRP side. But I want you guys to also understand that XRP, the digital currency that we are actually holding, is fully cleared. There is not a single concern about XRP being a security or a currency. We know it's 100% a currency. Now, on top of this, over here, we do have from the Financial Services GOP, the time for clarity. This was on June 26th. The Clarity Act, delivering regulatory certainty, protecting American consumers, fueling U.S. innovation, reinforcing American leadership in global finance. If we're thinking about this, right, every single major bill right now around digital assets is to support American crypto companies as well. We know how much of a spotlight has been put on Circle, how much of a spotlight has been put on Coinbase. Think about Ripple, okay? You have Ripple, a company that's been around this space, forever now. XRP, one of the largest cryptocurrencies, one of the oldest cryptocurrencies as well, going all the way back to 2012. If we're thinking about this logically, why wouldn't this case be fully wrapped up so that Ripple and XRP can fully be embraced in the US? If we're talking about supporting US-based crypto projects and companies in a huge way through all of this legislation, and we're starting to see the market really open up around digital assets in the US, why wouldn't we get this case completely wiped by the end of the summer, leading into, of course, the time where we have both the Genius and the Clarity bill fully passed through? But like I said, with XRP, there's no question about it. XRP is fine. If we're talking about Ripple, then yeah, I understand that this is actually bad news that, she's denying this. But she's also saying that if Ripple really wanted this case gone tomorrow, they could have it gone tomorrow. But XRP, no concern with XRP. I find it comical that we're seeing a sell-off right now. In terms of the sell-off, sitting under $2.10, sitting right around it kind of a bit. I'm hoping to see if we, can hold around this $2.10 level or so, going all the way back to like the 4th and the 5th of, this month. We did hold that, but then once we lost it, we did have that deep wick to the downside. Like I said before as well, lower price action is always something that's possible, but if we really kind of zoom out, I suspect that we will probably get major closes above at least the $1.90 level to really kind of make sure that we maintain these lows from like March and April. We still have to be very patient here, and we have to watch for Bitcoin to really kind of clear some of the recent highs as well, because again, right now with Bitcoin dominance being as high as it is, any major swing low could definitely hurt altcoins in a big way. So just be a little bit more patient here. In terms of the XRP Ripple case, I don't think that we really need to worry about that case at all. It's really kind of just mainly focused around Ripple right now. Everyone thinks that the case matters for like ETFs and for XRP adoption and growth and things like that. It really doesn't. Now, if we're talking about Ripple with institutional clients and things like that, that case definitely does matter for Ripple. And I do suspect that we don't have to wait too much longer on that case to actually be fully done. A lot of the lawyers are telling you, listen, we either get this done by the end of July, early August, or at the latest, if we're really thinking about this, okay, maybe even September to align with the timeline on US legislation. But I do think that we're going to see dismissals of both appeals, and I think that we will probably get this case wrapped up as soon as possible. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, set notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out.